This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
Welcome to my show. You know, I love to talk about entrepreneurs and people doing amazing things. And so joining me right now, Paul and J Whitley, C-Suite Support. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Now, Paul, you have a very prosperous company, and we're going to get to that in a minute. But first things first, we got to talk about this love story. How long you guys been together now?
47 years married and 48 and a half, I guess, together.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It is pretty shocking to me too.
And it just so happens this is LBJ right behind us, and your love story has a little something to do with LBJ.
Yeah, we met on LBJ Road. No, actually,
Apartment. No,
You were
not on the
hitchhiking.
road.
I was hitchhiking. She was gracious enough to stop. No, she was an apartment manager, as well as she was an executive assistant for the VP of an insurance company. But she had the apartment position so that she could have a free apartment, and one of her choice with the complex that I happened to move into. Well, in those days, keeping in mind this was almost 50 years ago, they had two sections of most apartments. They had an adult section where the children lived, and they had a family section where the children lived, and an adult section where those without children lived.
Yes.
So I moved into the adult section, and in the first week that we were there, being a geek, now this is 1972, today you can do it very easily, I had put transmitters and receivers in to where I could shoot my stereo information or stereo system out to the sound system of the complex.
And he did.
So the first week, I invited everybody that was in that side of the complex to a party, friend as well as friends and etc. Had a party in February, cold, so we had all the furniture in the pool, and sitting on the furniture in the pool having a rather loud party. So, needless to say, someone
It
had...
was loud across LBJ. The
You're lucky she didn't call the
apartment complex called us to say that we had somebody making a lot of noise over there.
It wasn't the adjacent one, it was the one across the highway that complained about our noise. That is a true statement. So at any rate, she came over and had to shut down my party. And needless to say, it was a long time before I could first even talk to her, second, convince her to go out. And as the story goes, and then I'll let her put her 10 cents worth in, I would go over on the weekends, be out at the pool with the kids, buy a bunch of barbecue so that we'd have barbecue. And then finally I talked to her and let me take the kids to go get a barbecue. Well, at the time, I had 3 Corvettes, so I got one of them that was convertible. Put the kids in the convertible and let her 9-year-old son drive in the parking lot. That's how I ever had a chance to go out with her. He convinced her that I was okay.
Because he would call, you know, or he would ask me out in front of the kids too. And I had a son and a daughter, and David would say to me, "Mom, I think he's an okay guy. I think you ought to go out with him." And I was like, "No, he is not an okay guy. No, I am not going out with him." Well, I went out with him. And anyway, it ended up that we married. And I guess it's been okay because it's been for 47 years so far.
Wow. That is a great love story.
I'm a bit of a romantic, so
He is an
I tried
incredible romantic.
I tried to make sure that there was no reason she could say no as many times as possible. Let's put it that way.
Including sending to my office that I worked for the insurance company a dozen red roses, and I detest red roses. They've
Really?
never been anything to me that I don't like them. So he sent them on a Friday. I went home, left them in the office, and he was like, "Where are the roses? I don't like red roses." So he knew then yellow roses would be what to send me, and
She became my Yellow Rose of Texas.
Oh, that is a sweet love story.
so we've had some wonderful times together.
We love to travel. We traveled, many times to Europe and love traveling the world. So I've tried to maintain that romantic situation. At this stage, she probably fusses that COVID's here. We're not doing any of that kind of stuff. Why aren't we going
It is
somewhere?
strange. It really is. 11 years ago, my 65th birthday, he came in and says, "Well, we've been so many places. Where do you want to go? This is a special birthday." And I said, "I want to go to Ireland. That's the motherland. I'm Irish." And He planned the most incredible 3-week trip to Ireland that anyone could ever have dreamed of. It was truly a dream come true, and fell in love with the place and fell in love with each other all over again. He has arranged now that, though he did this, I can't even remember how long ago, but he decided to surprise me and we would renew our vows. And unfortunately, he didn't choose it on our actual wedding date, so now I get 2 anniversaries.
I did not think that one through. So May 27th is the anniversary of renewing our vows, and
Paul is
February.
the most stickler for details and researching things, and it's the information is there before you could ever even want it. That's who he is, and that's who he has been with his family. And my 2 children and our daughter, we have a daughter that we adore, and so he's what he is to his family, he is that to people that he meets too. He's I guess one of the things I love about Paul Whitley, I think other things that drive me crazy I won't share, but the things I love about him, he is a man of true loyalty, integrity, and affection and detail.
I love that. Well, that's a good transition into C-suite support. Paul, tell us a little bit more.
Well, career-wise, for the first 14 years of my career, I worked for a company, Montgomery Ward. And at the conclusion of that, I was the corporate accounting manager over 1,000 locations. So doing financials, to me, every month end, I'd go through 1,000 financials in one day, and I had 1,200 people working for me. So then I'd disperse and come back. So financial is something I'm very comfortable with. They were having troubles, and they offered me an opportunity we were in Kansas City, to move to Chicago. I came home, shared that with Jay. Her response, pretty much with a giggle like that, says, "I hope you don't mind commuting. I'm going back home. I'm going to Dallas."
I'm not staying up there.
That is so that changed the path of that, and I'm glad, because Montgomery Ward was having their issues at the time. So I found a little company here in Dallas that needed a CFO, and went to work for them. They were doing about $6 million. And they were in a mess. They were losing money, but they got me here, so I figured I had about 6 months to turn this thing around or find another job, whichever the case may be. But it was like the Midas touch. I mean, everything worked. So became a COO 3 months later, the CMO about 4 months after that, and then started running the company after about a year. We ultimately grew that company from 6 million to 180 million. So
it's amazing.
I got to do a lot of marketing, and I found out I love working with people more than I loved working with spreadsheets. I'm a fractional CFO that helps companies grow exponentially, because I used to spend $2 million a month in marketing, very much involved in how do you do it. But I'm not that smart. I'm smart enough to know that what I don't know, to find people that do know. So the things I know, I'm going to excel at, but one of those things is knowing how to put together a team and how to go get people to get it done. And that ultimately changed, and when that company was having issues, our lender failed. This was in the S&L days of Dallas and of the country. And I crossed over to what I say is the dark side. I became a lender. One of the guys I worked with, he figured if I could borrow $87 million, I could probably figure out how to lend it. So for the next 15 years, I worked as a lender in corporate finance. Did that, probably underwrote or looked at to underwrite over 3,000 companies, funding a little over 300 of those for almost $2.4 billion.
Wow.
So did a lot of merger acquisitions, had to underwrite those, learned credit nuances as well as the accounting side of it. But I found out through that process, I loved doing marketing. I loved talking to CEOs. Very much enjoyed that. And so the hedge fund that I was a director at in 2008 failed, along with a whole lot of other funds and things. So that's when I started becoming interim CFO. Ultimately a fractional CFO, and the difference is an interim works for 1 or 2 companies, head down, business stops, you get them funded, you get whatever they do, and it goes away. And about 3 years ago, I started C-Suite Support, and with the intent of trying to pull together a lot of people that were looking for interim opportunities, because at that age, when I went into a company, a millennial recruiter asked me if I needed a walker. So,
Oh my
you know,
goodness.
it was
Pretty
just,
much, yeah.
you know, it wasn't going to happen. So let's face reality. So at any rate, that's,
Well, let's get Jay back into this conversation, because you mentioned his attention to detail. That he's also an extrovert, isn't he? He's never met a stranger. That must make him very successful.
He hasn't ever met a stranger. However, he has graciously told me that that's because of me, because I don't meet strangers. The thing about being short is that if I need something high off a shelf in a store, I can ask someone and I can offer to get them something down. And so when we would be together, he would pull back a little bit, probably because I was out there so much. But he has become, and our beautiful Holly, she's got his nature. She's brilliant like he is, and detailed. Yes, he is so detailed. Sometimes he drives us all crazy, but at the same time, I respect it and appreciate it so much because he doesn't leave anything to chance.
And that's perfect in business, especially when you're dealing with numbers. And I mean, you've got to make the numbers work.
well, I should put a following comment on that. I am very much an introvert, at least by nature. And Jay is so much an extrovert by nature. We'd go to business function, party, or whatever, and she's a social butterfly. And I'm kind of watching her move the room, and that was in our early years. Well, finally, she drugged me out of that. We got so much involved in the 80s and 90s doing work around here in the things of, March of Dimes and Fortnite and catalog capers or that kind of thing with some of the stores. So we did a lot of entrepreneur or
Charity.
charity. There's the word I'm looking for. Thank you. Did a lot of charity work during that period
This
of time.
long you finish each other's sentences.
And it goes on well. I
cute.
need it from time to time. I'm trying to think of that word. But at any rate, so now she would drag me to the charity events and force me to get out there and talk. Well, at that time, I wasn't in the charity events for my business or our business because, I didn't care whether you weren't going to buy my stuff. But she made me get out there and do it anyway. Well, at any rate, that was the embryo of pulling me out of my shell and talking, because we're going to talk to everybody in the room.
I love it. And now you created a monster, because he's got his own show.
Oh, I know. He truly is.
So, Paul,
It's kind of we've reversed, it's like, I kind of like the background. He's given me definitely tons of platforms for being out there, bringing me in to build some of the construction of the buildings that he was working with. That led to my interior design, that has led to so many things for us. Our world and our life has been blessed more abundantly than I can tell you. And
that's beautiful.
it's because of this man and the father and grandfather, Papa, that he is. So
it's a great love story. Tell us, before we go, Paul, tell us more about your show.
All right. Well, more recently, about 3 or 4 months ago, actually a couple months ago, a friend of mine, a gentleman by the name of Don Williams, he's with the Fort Worth Entrepreneur Organization, and I'm a strategic partner, alliance partner with them. So I'm very much involved with about 100 CEOs in Fort Worth. I understand you're in the Dallas
That's right.
Entrepreneur Organization, and it's a great organization for companies that are building, trying to accelerate, trying to utilize all of the tools and talents of senior management. So at any rate, after one of those meetings, Don offered to do a video in his studio. Well, I was meeting with him for another function. I said, okay, let's go do that. So off the fly, did a video. I mean, literally off the fly, did a video. And he edited it down, sent it to me. I put it on LinkedIn, and I had nearly 3,700 hits
Wow.
in 2 days on that video. And I'm going, wait a minute. wait a minute, there's something to this. Now, with C-Suite, it's our company, but it's also a network group. So we have a little over 340 members of the C-Suite group, and about half of them are in the CXO group, meaning a CEO, CMO, CHRO, CIO, CFOs. And we also have other business people in there that we relate B2B type things. But I bring in speakers, and these speakers would talk about videography. They would talk about SEO, how to present yourself, how to sell, how to do LinkedIn. All of these things were going on. And I got a little bit involved in LinkedIn and kind of put that together. But Don just turned the light on. It's like the guy I was talking about earlier 3 years ago, turned the light on for the fractional CFO. Don turned the light on. And with that, then I'm also a member of a network group called Abundance Connectors. Mm-hmm. So they were putting on one of their weekly shows or weekly meetings, came here. And I'm standing in the back of the room and I'm going, holy mackerel. There's something to this, and there's just the quality and the professionalism of the setups. You've got 8 studios, 9 studios, something like that.
Thank you.
And to watch that show and now being involved in producing those shows, it has given me something, and what most people don't know is videography, that when you're putting those things out there, mm-hmm. they sort of last forever. But when you put them on LinkedIn, you can put them on today, and you can put them on next week, and you can put them on next week, and a lot of people see it for the first time. So you may not want to do the same one each week like that, but it's like the videos that I'm doing here. I can take those, and there's segments to them. I can break them down into 8 or 9 segments. So now I have the master video. Mm-hmm. We're live on YouTube, live on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and now we're going back out and replacing those, breaking those down into where I can do multiple videos all the time. I can rotate those videos and get them out there. It's a tremendous tool.
Well, I'm going to give Jay the last word. He comes home and says, honey, I'm going to start my own show. And I can only imagine your reaction. Are you glad he did it now?
Oh, I'm terribly glad he did it. I really, really am. And he said, it's Jeff Crilley. And I was like, well, I know who that is, Okay. And truly it was like, okay, that validates it for me. Now I know. And then being here today doubly validates it. What a wonderful staff and people and warmth and kindness.
Thank you.
And no, I'm so proud that he's doing it. I really am. I think it's been another step in our journey together. And I can tell you right now, our daughter and our granddaughter love watching it. He'll show them and they think it's just awesome, and I do too. I sincerely appreciate the opportunity you've afforded him.
Well, he's very polished.
She left out that when I told her, she said, why on earth are you doing that?
He's really good. I was there on your very first episode, and I was very impressed with how you handled that with great poise.
Well, I like critiquing it too.
Well, listen, we're out of time, so we're going to put your website up so everybody can get in touch with you. C-suitesupport.com is the website. Thank you both for being here, and thank you for sharing your love story.
Thank you, sir.
Well, thank you for having us on.
You bet.
Appreciate that.
That's it for now. We'll see you next time.